Welcome to Conversation Kitchen. I'm Mariah Kessler with Hungry for Truth and the South Dakota Soybean Checkoff. We're teaming up with local food makers to learn how to make delicious recipes with South Dakota ingredients and soy. Today we're here with Ryan Gady from The Smoked Culture, founder and owner. What are we making here today, Ryan?
Today we smoked a pork butt for 19 hours and we are going to make pulled pork with it. What's nice about pulled pork is you can use it for a variety of different things, from pulled pork sandwiches to tacos, nachos, and leftovers are fantastic.
Yeah, I bet. So where do you go about sourcing your meat? Where did you find this pork butt that we're going to be cooking here today?
I usually just go down to your local grocery store. When you go down there, you want to take a look at, make sure you know exactly how much you need so you get the right cut and then the right amount for the people that you're going to feed. Other than that, you just want to make sure that it's got the right color and the package isn't damaged. And other than that, look for a fat cap to make sure that you have just enough. You don't want too much of it. It kind of protects the meat from being burned during the process.
Yeah, cool. So to go from this to that, what are some of the first steps that you take?
I personally will I usually get around an 8-pound pork butt, and what I'll do is I'll score the fat cap, which to me helps render the fat cap out, gives the meat some moisture, protects it also from any overheating or flame if you are to get any. But other than that, this is kind of what I do here.
Awesome.
And then you can use any kind of seasoning that you want. I will go grab, I've used numerous ones from the store. I haven't made my own as of yet. This one, I just got at Ace Hardware. It's called Cimarron Doc.
Looks good.
So I'll just start.
So do you have any tips for picking out different seasonings?
You know what? You want to go with just your flavor palette. A lot of places will have like tester bottles, so you can give it a shot and see which one. I like more of a salty, maybe a little bit spicy, rather than some people like a sweeter sugar kind of coating. And I personally just like a little bit of heat on mine.
Cool. Do you have a huge spice cabinet full of different seasonings for all your different cuts of meat?
I do, actually. We have plenty. I mean, eventually I'd like to start making some of my own, but right now it's so easy just kind of go grab. And then there's so many great products out there, and especially there's some local products also that are fantastic. I try to stay, like, if I'm going to get something, I try to shop local as much as possible.
All right, what are some of your favorite local ones? Do you have any off the top of your head?
Honestly, like Uncle Ed's has some great seasonings. That's a great little butcher shop. You have Looks, that's also fantastic. I live so close to Hy-Vee, it's so easy for me to run there. Or Ace Hardware. Ace Hardware has a fantastic spice section or smoking section. So it's pretty easy to run in there and find something that's going to be good.
Right. So after this, you season the meat beforehand, and then do you do anything after while it's on the smoker, or do you do?
About once an hour. For the first 4 hours, you want to run out and maybe spray it down with some apple juice, or some people do apple cider vinegar and Worcestershire sauce, stuff like that. But other than that, it's pretty much you put it in there and you let it go to town.
What are some of the meat cuts that don't take quite as long to smoke?
You can do like a steak. What I do is I reverse sear steaks or reverse sear pork chops, where I will put them in at 225 until it hits a certain internal temperature that I want, and then I'll crank it up and put it on the sear plates. There's so many different things you can do, but the low and slow stuff, you're gonna be there for between 16 to 20 hours.
What's the best cut of meat to do low and slow?
I personally like doing the pork butt because it's really easy and forgiving, like I said. It's hard to mess up. Brisket, on the other hand, is so much more expensive. And if you don't get that right, you've wasted, about $100.
Yeah, right. And how do you monitor the temperature? And what temperature do you cook to?
I have a quick temp thermometer that I can use to check the internal temperature, but also my smoker, and a lot of the smokers have them, where there's a probe that hooks right to the actual smoker. You put it in a piece of meat and it'll tell you where it's at. You can open up the app on your phone and you can see what's going on right there in your smoker.
So we got it seasoned and then we see the end product. We talked a little bit about what happens in between, but what temp does it hit for it to look like this end product here?
Okay, well, once we get it all seasoned and ready to go, we throw it on the smoker, set it at 225. You're going to want to watch the internal temp, and you want it to get to 203 because that's when it shreds. It's safe to eat prior to that, but it's not going to pull like you want pulled pork to pull. Once you get there, pull it off, wrap it up, wait an hour or so, and you're ready to go.
So what do you use to shred it?
I use thermal gloves and rubber gloves to shred. Some people, you can get the bear claw. I've used forks before. When it hits this temperature, it's really easy to shred. So it should just fall apart pretty much.
Awesome. So let's see that. So there's the bone. Are there any other bones to watch for?
Nope, just that. You can get boneless ones, but for my choice is have the bone because I think the bone gives it more flavor. And I know how to time it with this. The ones without the bone will go a lot faster. They'll hit 203 a lot quicker than these will.
Awesome. Well, it looks like it's really coming apart easy.
Oh yeah, it just pulls right apart.
Wow. So do you usually leave it thicker or do you shred it thinner for different foods? I
like mine a little bit kind of thicker. I don't like the finely shredded stuff. That's just personal preference. The bark is some of the best stuff though. When you get this stuff here, that's the stuff that has all the flavor too. I mean, it's all really good, but all the seasoning sits on the outside. So
and it really does smell fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. It's one of my favorite cuts of meat to smoke for sure.
So you're incorporating the flavor then in now with shredding it. Do you put any other seasoning on after you shred it?
I usually don't because I leave that up to whoever's eating it, how much barbecue sauce they want to use. Some people do like a vinegar-based thing inside of it. I think there's already so much moisture in a pork butt that you really don't need to add anything else. Everything else is, everybody likes it their own way. So this way you give them a really solid, great base protein and they can take it wherever they want to from there.
What's the first thing that we're making here?
Right now we're gonna make tacos first, pulled pork tacos. Everything's personal preference. I'm just gonna make them the way that I like them. So you just want to take a handful of pork, throw it in your taco shells. You can do hard shell too. Soft shell just seems to be a little bit easier. Put this. I'm going to get rid of one of my gloves here. Some fresh made pico I made at home.
So which one is your friend's favorite? Is this the one that they ask for when they come over?
That's usually the steak that they ask me, but they'll eat anything I make. Once every time I have something or I'm cooking something, someone will show up. Then we got some cotija cheese.
So where do you get these ingredients from?
Usually I just run down to Hy-Vee. It's so close to our house that it's just really easy to grab it there.
Hy-Vee does a good job of having fresh and local ingredients too.
For sure.
So talking about grocery store and some of these ingredients.
Whoa.
Talking about grocery stores and some of these ingredients, what are some common misconceptions when you're looking at some of the meat products? Like, are there different labels, or what do you see sometimes when you're picking things out that you question?
You know, when I'm looking at meat, I want to make sure that, you know, it's the right color. I try to, like I said, try to do locally as much as possible. Depends, and sometimes it's just not, when it's you're right there, got to get it. You just have to grab whatever. But I try to shop local as much as possible.
Yeah. Sometimes we see in grocery stores that certain companies will label meats as antibiotic free or organic. Do you hear sometimes, or do you ever get questions on that from your followers on what they should be looking for?
Not a lot. I think a lot of people that are going to do this already have some of those down of what they prefer and how they want their meat to be raised or where they're sourced from. So usually on my page, people are asking like, oh, hey, what what seasonings did you use, or how long did you cook that for? I'll tag a lot of the seasonings that I use in the actual post, so you can kind of see what I'm using and how long I've put stuff on the smoker for.
Yeah. Well, what's really good to know is that when it comes to meat products in the United States, that none of those meat products have antibiotics in them. If antibiotics were used to treat an animal, there's a withdrawal period that they have to wait before the animal is processed into some of these food products. So we finished our first dish, which was the pulled pork tacos. What are we starting on now?
This one we're going to do a tostada. It's something I just came up with because I had some leftover pork, and it's kind of like making a big pork nacho.
Oh, awesome. So what's the difference from the pork tacos and then the tostada?
This one you're going to have a crispy shell. Other than that, a lot of the same ingredients. I like I'm a nacho freak, so to me I like the hard shell.
Oh, cool. So it goes on top?
So yeah, we're gonna do a couple layers here. Do one layer like this, have another, some more pulled pork.
Oh, wow.
On top.
That's kind of fancy. Is this easy to eat?
You're gonna probably want to use a fork.
Yeah.
I don't want to dive in there without one of those, I'm guessing.
Nah.
We'll top it with our Mexican crema, or the tortilla. Some homemade pico.
Cool. What's in your homemade pico?
I do onions, tomatoes, some cilantro, a jalapeno, some lime juice, and that's about it. A couple fresh jalapenos if you guys want some heat.
Are those from your own garden?
No, I ran down to Hy-Vee and grabbed them too.
I grew my own jalapenos, and they're a little bit different than store-bought jalapenos. Oh my goodness, you can hardly put a couple of them on any dish. Wow, that looks really beautiful. Cool. So now we're starting on pulled pork sandwiches. So there's a lot of probably recipes out there for pulled pork sandwiches. What's the secret that makes yours great?
Mine is just keep it simple. I like to, like I said, not over season the meat, leave it the way that it is, and let the people that are eating season it however they want to season it. So what I'm just going to do is just put some on this bun, and then there's some barbecue sauce that you guys can use to make it however you want.
Awesome. So there's so many different kinds of barbecue sauces. What do you look for when picking yours out?
You know, I got this one because it's pretty middle of the road. I like something a little bit more spicy. I actually make like a keto one that's made from coconut aminos, which tastes like soy sauce. And that's all keto friendly. There's no sugars. It's got more of like an Asian profile to it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, there is soybean oil in a lot of different sauces, and we actually saw it on this sauce that we're using here today. But you said before that you use soy sauce in some of your other recipes?
Yeah, we do some smoked jerky, and we use soy sauce in the marinade for the jerky.
So I've heard your jerky is pretty good. So what else is the secret to the jerky?
Oh, I can't give secrets away.
Can't give secrets away? Sure.
No.
I'm just excited to try some. Speaking of recipes, head over to hungryfortruthsd.com and our social channels, where we're serving up truth and more recipes daily. Thanks for joining us on Conversation Kitchen. We'll see you next time.